Lancer football is now on the air.
T10, 5 in the house. The right to
he's going to give down into the end zone.
At the 5, and he's in for a score. Touchdown, Belleville East. The 25-20, brought down inside the red zone. Mark across the 19-yard line.
Now it's time for the Lancer football pregame show. Welcome into the Lancer football pregame show here on a Saturday afternoon here for Belleville East. We're going to have the Lancers and the O'Fallon Panthers coming up here in just about 29 minutes or so on the Lancer football pregame show here on the Belleville East broadcast. All right, Steven Stock here for the pregame. Unfortunately, we're not able to do the game today as it's going to be my partner, very good partner, Joey Van Zumbert, who's going to be taking you guys on the call today for the play-by-play. And we'll get to call for the booth here in a little bit after the Lancer football pregame show. And hopefully, I know Joey's going to do a very good job. He always does a very good color job. And when he's taken over for play-by-play during some of these last two broadcasts, he's always done an excellent job. So I'm not worried about him today. And hopefully, Tristan, our cameraman for our last football game, who's helped out for our volleyball game, I think it was a week ago, he's done a really good job as well. So hopefully he can continue that. I think he will. I'm confident in these two guys. They're going to be able to do great today. So Joey and Tristan, I believe Cam Danger, who also is my volleyball partner, will come out and help as well, possibly. So there's that for you, and hopefully they do a good job, and I think they will. So Joey on the call, Tristan behind the camera, and working the computer. So there you go. But welcome to the Lancer football pregame show. We have Belleville East taking on O'Fallon here in about 28 minutes or so. Another big Southwestern Conference matchup. The Lancers are coming in 1-1. O'Fallon's coming in 1-1 in Southwestern Conference play. East 3-2. O'Fallon 4-1. Does not get better than this. We'll take a short 60-second timeout. Hear a message from the Lancer bands, and we'll be right back after this.
I'm excited about the growth and just how the band has come so far and how everything is just improving so fast and how much improvement we have made too.
I'm excited about the concept. Our show is called After Dark, so there's a lot of stuff from midnight. We make a crescent moon, and our props are big light posts, which are very cool.
I'm excited about the competitions. We'll have 5, and we'll win the BOA that's in the Big Dome. And then we'll host our own at West, and we'll have a great time.
NMAOTBA!
And we're back here after a short message from our Lancer bands who will be performing at the half. So if you're looking forward to their performance, I know they've been learning some more new stuff. So you can go ahead and check out their performance coming up here at the half between O'Fallon and Belleville East. I know they over the weekend got first place in some I can't remember what it was. It was some tournament or whatever, I guess you could call it. I know they won a bunch of awards, and especially first place between a bunch of schools. So congrats to them. I don't have the specific awards or what it was, but good on them though. Good on them. I know they went to Eastern Illinois, so good on that. So they'll be performing at the half. Anyway, let's talk some football, though. Let's go and recap what happened last week in the Lancer victory over the Alton Redbirds, 33-14 on the road. We've seen now the Lancers have won 3 road games, all 3 road games on the year: Collinsville, Metea Valley, and Alton. 3-0, and all of these wins, besides the Collinsville game, the last 2 have been blowouts. And we saw it 52-18 against Metea Valley, and now 33-14 against the Alton Redbirds. So right now, Belleville East is playing on the road, I mean, despite the crowd pressure and all that, the noise, they're still able to fight and win games by double-digit margins, and we saw it again on Friday. So let's get into the highlights, or not really the highlights. Let's get into the recap. So start of the first quarter, it's Markevius Curtin getting the run game going. He had a monster game. Him, and it was Moisey Trimble and Brandon Coleman had another monster game running the ball. We'll talk about that here in a second, but it's Markevius Curtin started off with a 5-yard touchdown run, and it gives the Lancers a 6-0 lead. His extra point failed. And so you got a 6-0 lead after the first quarter. And then I believe it was the start of the second quarter. It's Khalil Waller put up an interception. I mean, we saw it against East St. Louis. He was playing safety in that game against the Flyers. And he's his last, I think it's 2 games now. If he's been playing on the defensive side of the ball at safety, and he's done a really good job. He finished the game against Alta with 5 tackles and interception. So really good game from him. I think he's found he's found his spot on that defensive side because he was playing wide receiver. We know he saw him in a couple of games start at the wide receiver position, and he's had like 2 or 3 catches every game. He's been able to find himself in the safety position, so play a lot better there. That's good to see him because he's a really good athlete here as a junior. So congrats to him on that interception. So 6-0 Lancers after the interception, and it's going to be Brandon Coleman, another touchdown, a 10-yard touchdown run. And how about that? It is now 12-0 Lancers as the extra point failed again. 12-0. And to end out the first half, you better know who it is. It's Markevius Curtin doing it again. He finished the game with 96 rushing yards. A big monster game from him. So he makes it a touchdown. They actually get the 2-point conversion on another Markevius Curtin run. 14-0 Lancers at the half. And then it's in the third quarter. It's Armand Vincent on an 8-yard touchdown pass, who actually ended up playing QB. I don't know for how long, because I know the Aaron Miller did throw a pick according to these stats. But Armand Vincent came in and threw 2 passing touchdowns to what it says on the Belleville East Lancers Athletics Twitter account. So he ended up throwing 2 touchdowns, 1 here, and it makes it now a 26-0 ball game, or 27-0 ball game's extra point is good. And then later in the third quarter, you better know his name again. It's Moisey Trimble with another 11-yard touchdown run. He's played really well. Him, Coleman, and Curtin is the 300 running back. I highlighted it to Coach Harrison earlier this week, and he loved it. So 33-0 is the score. And then in the fourth quarter, the Alton Redbirds ended up scoring 2 touchdowns in the fourth to make it 33-14 was the final in Alton last Friday night. So big win for the Lancers, 3-2 back on the right foot. That's how you really want to respond against an East St. Louis team where you didn't play really well. You didn't play really well that game. And you're able to respond on the road at Alton and get you guys back on the right track. 3-2. Anyway, let's take a quick break. And coming up will be our player to make on and Alton's season so far. And how about some playoffs? Yeah, we're getting close to the playoffs halfway through the season. We'll talk about that next on the Lancer Football Pregame Show. And we're back here at the Lancer Football Pregame Show. Welcome in here And with our next segment, let's go ahead and talk about the opponent, the O'Fallon Panthers here in the Southwestern Conference battle, and they are a really good team. 4-1 coming in, 1-1 in conference play. They beat Edwardsville 32-31, and this game was crazy 2 weeks ago. They were down, what was this? I think they were down like 21-10 in the fourth quarter, and they were able to come back. I think it was 24-10, I believe it was. And they were still able to come back. I mean, that's unbelievable how they were able to come back in the fourth quarter and win 32-31. Unbelievable. That's an incredible comeback in the fourth quarter. So we already know this team's really good. Last week they did lose to East St. Louis 60-21. Impressive to put 21 points on the board. We all know how good East St. Louis is, but O'Fallon was able to put 21 points on the board. And Robert Battle had a really good game, but it didn't throw much. I don't think they had much turnovers. Only one interception from Colt Michael. We'll talk about him in a second. But they ran the ball still really well because their running back Christopher Caldwell had 88 yards rushing with an average of 5.18. So really good in that game. Still ended up unable to get the win because you know how good East St. Louis is. But the O'Fallon team, their offense is really good. So now let's go and talk about the roster. There is some guys on this roster that I have been outlining on here as their first guy, their quarterback, who I talked about it with Coach Harrison earlier this week, is Colt Michael, who is very, very good. He has a 60% or 61% throw-in percentage or completion percentage, 1,200 yards, so 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 picks, and that's good for a QB rated of 116.4. That is pretty good. He is pretty good. He can throw that rock and able to find guys for the score. Leading the touchdowns for the O'Fallon Panthers is receiver Jalen Smith, who's got 500 yards receiving, 30 receptions for 9 touchdowns. Watch out for this guy. Him and Christopher Caldwell are guys you're going to want to watch out for. Christopher Caldwell on the year has 5 touchdowns, 80 rushes, 549 yards, 6.9 average yards per carry. It's going to be an interesting rushing game between Christopher Caldwell versus the three-headed running back of Moisey Trimble, Brandon Colvin, and Marcavius Curtin. I want to see who outperforms each other. I feel that's going to be an interesting matchup. Who defense can come up and stop the run? We're going to find out. As we know, the Lancers, if they can get the run game going, they can win the game. So O'Fallon, a really good team coming in. That's their little preview of them. And next, let's go ahead and talk some playoffs. We're halfway through the season now. A little over halfway. Still 4 games left to go. And 5 games are played. Let's just sit at 3-2. And I was talking to coaches today or yesterday about what's the chances the Lancers can get in the playoffs. And since the Lancers do play in the Southwestern Conference, they have a harder schedule with games like Collinsville, Pekin, East St. Louis, O'Fallon, Edwardsville, which will give them schedule points. And with these schedule points, the Lancers just really need to finish at 5-4, and they're able to play some playoff football come in a month. I think that's pretty interesting. So, did say that 6 wins would be a lock, and I've been the message over the last few weeks on the broadcast is 6 or 7 wins are going to get the playoffs. 5 is going to get you in now. But I said I do think the Lancers could get in if they could get 6-7 wins. I think they can. And I'm still confident they can. I think they can beat either today, O'Fallon, or Edwardsville next week, and then take down Western Granite City at home. I'm confident they can get 3 out of the next 4 wins. There's 3 wins out of the next 4 games. I think they're going to get in the playoffs. I'm very confident about that, especially when I was told 5 wins, they're going to get to it. I'm really confident they are. And how about some Lancer football, playoff Lancer football? That'd be interesting. Definitely, you come in as a lower seed, but you never know what can happen when you get in the playoffs. You're going to go out there and fight. And we know this Lancer football team can fight. We saw it against Pekin in that second half. You may be down 21-0, you still got to execute and fight. That's what they did. It made it a close ball game. So you never know what could happen get into the playoffs. But anyway, that's just want to talk about that, playoff chances and all that. Coming up now is This Week in Lancer Athletics. It's time for another installment of This Week in Lancer Athletics. Let's start off with boys soccer who have played 3 straight home games going back to last week, and they ended up beating Alton on the road first on last Tuesday, 1-0 on a goal by Anton Mosley. And then last Thursday, it ended up beating O'Fallon at home in penalty kicks to win 0-0 after regulation and overtime with the PKs. And they won 5-3 in penalty kicks. And the game-winning call is coming up here in a bit. But unfortunately, this week, the Lancers dropped games to Althoff 3-2 and Edwardsville 1-0. And have lost 2 straight instead of a record of 10-3. The next game is going to be on Tuesday at Belleville West, and on the Belleville East broadcast dark, it'll be Thursday at home for the last home game against Collinsville. And now here is that game-winning call and reaction from the game against O'Fallon.
Ball spot at the 2. Will Keck trying to make it 5 for 5 and a perfect PK night for the Belleville East Lancers. The run-up, the shot, Keck to shoot. Score! Goal! Belleville East is going to win on a walk-off goal! It's a Will Keck and a winner for the Lancers! 5-3 penalty kicks! Oh, what a game for the Lancers! They're going to win as the student section. Some of the student section mobs Will Keck. It's the rest of the Belleville East players, the team mobs Will Keck at about the 15-20 yard line. The Lancers are winning over O'Fallon 5-3. They stun them in PKs in Belleville East. And now it proves to 10-1 on the year. Let's talk about it next on the Belleville East Broadcast Network.
Will Keck with the game-winning goal and me with the game-winning reaction. That's what happens sometimes with the huddle camera. Doesn't give you the best angle on a game-winning goal. You got to get the behind the mic reaction. Might have to start doing that more. Anyway, the Lancers soccer sits at a record of 10-3. Let's get over to girls volleyball. So last week we saw them take on Althoff in East St. Louis. They beat Althoff after losing set 1. They won in 3 sets, and they won in a set shutout against East St. Louis on last Tuesday at home. And then they have won 3 straight road games. And now currently they're playing in the Metro East Classic Tournament here at Belleville East. And they played Champaign Seattle. They won in 2 sets. And they lost to Parkway West and Normal Community. So the record now sits at 17-8 on the year. And they're currently playing that tournament. I believe competition resumes this morning. So good luck to them. Hopefully they keep it going. Their next home game is going to be on Tuesday. We'll have the call for it here against Edwardsville. And they have 2 more home games left 3 more home games left by schedule. Thursday against Edwardsville, but we will be doing boys soccer, and then on the 20th against Collinsville. So there you go. Now it's time to switch over to golf. So let's start off with the girls team. They've been really good as of late. Let's go and talk about them. Started off, they had the Southwestern Conference Tournament on the 20th, and they finished 4th after started off in the tournament as 4th. So they just literally finished as 4th. But there you go. And then they had the Belleville, they had the Class 2A Collinsville Regional, and ended up finishing 5th. So not bad. Really good on them. They've definitely had a really good season. And it was Kayla Albertina and Allison Brown who advanced to the sectional on Monday at Fair Oaks for them. Now coming up is the boys golf team. And now for boys golf, they've had the Southwestern Conference Tournament on the 20th, and they ended up finishing 6th. They started off 6th in the first round and finished off as 6th in the final round. And then they had the Mascuda Invitational and finished 6th with a score of 325. And then lastly, they had the Class 3A Quincy Regional and finished 7th. And our good guy here on one of my partners for volleyball, Cam Desjardins, participated in that tournament. And it was Noah Ramos and Carter Rose who advanced to the IHSA Illinois Sectional Regional this Monday. So congrats to them, and they'll be competing in the sectional on Monday. So that is your This Week in Lancer Athletics. And we're back here on the Lancer Football Pregame Show. That was This Week in Lancer Athletics. And now before we get to episode 4 of the Lancer Conversation with football head coach Michael Harrison, before we do that, let's get your player to bank on for today's game. And I always try to highlight a player on offense. That's what we're going to do it again. And we're going to go with the running back, Markavius Curtin, who had a big game against Alton last week. And he's had a big season. Him and Moisey Trimble and Brandon Coleman have been this 3-headed running back monster. And it's led to victories and points on the board. It's led to yards. And Markavius Curtin last week had 2 touchdowns, and Trimble had 1. But specifically, Markavius Curtin, 2 touchdowns, 16 carries for 96 yards, and that's an average of 6 yards per carry. Man, that's pretty good for a running back. and he did really well. So he's our player to bank on. He's had a really good season as well. I believe, let me pull it up. I believe he had, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to be wrong. I just had it pulled up. He has currently on the year 134 yards, 4 touchdowns. I don't think that's right. I think it's a lot more than that, but yeah, definitely a lot more, I feel like. Triple S 300, but yeah. Arcadius Curry, you're playing a bank off for this one. Get the run game going. If we've seen it, you just get the run game going. It sets up the offense and gets everything to momentum and in rhythm. Anyway, that's your pregame show, and now it's time for the Lancer conversation to finish it off.
Back to the Belleville East Broadcast Club social medias. This is episode 4 of the Lancer Conversation, and I'm joined here by football coach once again, Michael Harrison. Thank you for your time to join me today.
Hey, thank you. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. So it's been a while. It's been 2 weeks since the last game. It was a tough loss against East St. Louis. How do you treat that game? How do you treat that game? You just throw it away? Do you try and learn from it? How do you treat that? What's the message to the guys after it?
No, I mean, we always try to learn from every situation that we encounter, whether it's good or bad. We got to face a top quality opponent. But going into the game, the message was let's control what we can control. And going through that ball game, I think we stop them on the first drive. We did some good things. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We can't have costly, turnovers, costly mistakes. And definitely when you play an opponent of that caliber, it just magnifies it. So that was the message to the guys all week is like, hey, these are things that we did well, but we can also see how those mistakes can pile up quickly.
Yeah. On a better note, though, you guys, this past week were able to defeat Alton 33-14, got back on the right foot, which is now 4 straight program wins against Alton. What's your thoughts on that win and the performance from the guys?
The guys performed really well. 33-14 really doesn't even indicate how well we played. I mean, it was, I think we were pitching a shutout most of the way into the fourth quarter. They ended up scoring 2 late touchdowns, but we got off right off the bat, we started with, I think, an 8-minute drive that ended up in a touchdown. And so was really proud of the way the guys bounced back from the East St. Louis game, really took care of their business moving into Alton, and hopefully we can do the same thing again.
You guys have played pretty well on the road now, 3 straight wins, 3-0 road record. Is that something you guys focus on, or you just focus on just individually playing the game? Yeah,
not really. We don't talk much about, whether we're home or away. We do talk about eliminating distractions. When you go on the road and you're playing in a road game, sometimes those distractions are more than playing at home. But it's been nice to see the guys be able to really focus on the task in front of them, making sure that they got their, each of them get their job individually done, which ultimately, turns into us as a team getting the job done.
You guys have a 3-headed running back monster of Coleman, Curtin, and Trimble, which had another 3 touchdowns against Alton. They had 4 against Mateo Valley, so 7 in the last 3 games. How has the rushing attack been for you guys?
Yeah, it's. I don't think it's been any surprise. We knew we were going to be good and deep at the running back position. In the history of Belleville East, we've always had good running backs. And so, I'm happy for those guys. They've been able to kind of carry on that tradition. It's nice to see those guys when they get the opportunity to run the ball, they kind of cherish it because they know, hey, this is a carry that could be going to somebody else. And so those guys really, take advantage of every opportunity that they get. And, those guys, even along with, Luke Freppen came in and he got some good carries as well. And so, a lot of the credit goes to the big boys up front. But, those running backs are the ones that pile up the stats, and they're all having a good season.
I believe at the start of the second quarter versus Alton, you guys got an interception from Khalil Waller. You and I have talked about it the last few weeks, how big interceptions, takeaways on defense can lead to momentum, and it led to, a few minutes later, led to a Coleman touchdown. How big has it been on those plays, especially that one? Yeah,
Khalil's interception was extremely important in the game. Again, it came in a time, he actually got his interception in the end zone. So it came at a time where Alton was driving and had a little bit of momentum. And for us, it was really a kind of way for us to draw our foot in the sand and say, hey, look, we've bent, okay, but let's not give up any points here. And obviously the turnovers are huge. Not only is it taking away an opportunity for them to score, it's also giving your offense another opportunity. So we do spend a lot of time talking about turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, not giving them to the other team, and then on the defensive side of the ball, making sure we take them away from the other team when we get the opportunity.
Let's switch to the play of Armand Vincent, who's been playing positions of QB and also wide receiver. I believe he had 2 passing touchdowns against Alton, and he had 1 against Mateo Valley. How has he been? How has he been on the offense? How do you game plan having a guy that can play QB and wide receiver?
Yeah, it's nice. Obviously, it takes a little bit of work to make sure that he's getting prepared at all the positions that he plays, but it's been fun to watch him. He's come along, grasped the offense, has a good understanding of what we're trying to do, and it's nice to be able to have somebody that we can place in any of those situations. So, hats off to Armand. He's been a kid that really just wants to do whatever's best for the team. Which is how he's been able to play some wide receiver. He got in at quarterback and really did well for us this week. And so we're hoping that we can continue those things and keep giving him opportunities to shine.
Well, let's now look at the task of this week. You got O'Fallon on Saturday at home, and you guys put them last year and barely lost, 2017, a close loss. What did you learn from that game about them, and what do you know about them coming in?
I think in terms of us, it's again, more along the message. We know we can compete against them. Last year we had a couple of crucial turnovers again, and we didn't take advantage of all of our opportunities last year. And so that's kind of the message that we talked to the kids about this year. Now they got a lot coming back from last year. Their quarterback is a handful. They got some good size up front, and then their defensive line is really nasty. So again, it's going to be one of those games where we see if we can run the ball against them, and hopefully we get a couple of opportunities to capitalize on some mistakes.
Finish this one off. What's one strong thing you feel like you guys did well on Friday against Alton, and one weakness you guys need to work on for Saturday?
Well, we started the game off fast, and when I say fast, not necessarily like we scored quickly. Obviously, we took 8 minutes to score that first touchdown, but we started off fast in terms of our execution. We executed well right off the bat and really marched the ball down the field. Hopefully, we can continue that. Again, we talked to the guys about not having any negative plays. And so if we can roll that over into Saturday's game against O'Fallon, that's something that we are looking forward to. In terms of what we can improve on, again, we can always take the ball away from the other team, and that's the message to our defensive guys is, we got to get off the field when we have the opportunity to. We can't let them have long drives, and we can't give up big plays. So if we can do those couple of things, I think we'll be successful on Saturday.
All right. Thank you, Coach, for taking time to join me.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you to Coach Harrison for taking the time to join me this week for another interview. Always enjoy doing that. And now it's time to get you guys to the booth. It's time to get to my good guy, good friend, and a good partner, Joey V, on the call. Here you go, man. Let's do it.
Welcome into Belleville East football versus the O'Fallon Panthers. Belleville East welcomes the 4-1 O'Fallon Panthers for a match here in October on a beautiful day here at Charles Woodford Field. Should be a great match. I'm Joey Van Zummern on the call. My partner Steven Stock is not here with me today, so to quote Jason Derulo, I am riding solo today. I do have Cameron and Tristan helping me out though, so should be a great stream here. East versus O'Fallon. Looks like we're about a minute out until kickoff here. Belleville East is currently 3-2. Last week they traveled to Alton and beat the Redbirds 33-14, with the 14 points from Alton coming in the fourth quarter, so virtually garbage time. So great game from East last week. We'll see if they can continue that success today. Last time they were here, we saw them lose to East St. Louis in a rough one. Gave up a lot of points. But similar to the game against Pekin earlier on in the season, Belleville East, their mistakes killed them. They shot themselves in the foot plenty of time. So hopefully they change that today. Able to play a clean game, and they should be good because they've shown potential in their few home games so far, that they have the potential to be a powerful offense, have an efficient defense that can generate turnovers. So we'll see if that happens today. Next week, Belleville East will travel to Edwardsville to play the Tigers, and then they'll finish off their seasons with 2 games here at Belleville East. First off against crosstown rivals Belleville West, and then they'll end the season hosting Granite City for the homecoming game on October 21st.
Tonight's game, crew chief and line judge Carl Thomas, head linesman Emmerich Johnson, referee Ray Hughes, umpire Vince Webster.
All right, looks like the Lancers are lining up to kick off here. O'Fallon will start the game off with the ball.
Lancer fans, get on your feet. It's kickoff time at Charles Woodford Field.
Lancers back to kick. Special teams have been a problem for them so far in this season. They started off the game against Pekin allowing a kickoff return, so hopefully that is not the case here today. Kick goes up, it's going to land about the 35, and he's going to down it there. So O'Fallon will start just before the 40-yard line here. We'll be sending out Michael Colt to man their offense at quarterback. He's a senior, 6'2", 190 pounds. Michael Colt, number 5.